Thankfully Blessed and Rooted in the Word. I'm Nicole, a believer who has just recently read through the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and now I want to dive deeper. That's what this channel is all about. For us to grow in God's Word, to understand the book chapter by chapter, and to just dive into what He's telling us. We hope that you'll join us on our journey and come along to get rooted in the Word. Welcome to Thankfully Blessed and Rooted in the Word. We're glad that you came back to join us as we dive into Daniel chapter 11. Not sure what this chapter will bring. Hopefully a little more understanding and knowledge, and not so much of the not misunderstanding, just clear as mud. Clear as mud.
I'm sure there'll be lots of mud involved.
No, this has to get better. This is the...
Yeah, I don't think it will.
Okay. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this time that we can just come and focus on your word and your words and what they mean to us. We ask that you open up our hearts and our minds so that we can take the word and concrete it in our hearts to use for your good, to use for our knowledge, to use for blessing, to use to gain wisdom. We ask that you just let our words be yours, not our own, and that any misunderstandings or things we don't understand, if it's the time for us to understand it, you'll show it to us. And if it's not, that you'll just let us be okay with our growth and where we're at compared to where we were. And I ask that you just show us that next step. Guide us and direct us, and let your words be that compass. We ask all these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen. All right, so we are going to dive into Daniel chapter 11. And as for me, in the first year of Darius the Mede, I stood up to confirm and strengthen him. And now I will show you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings shall arise in Persia, and a fourth shall be far richer than all of them. And when he has become strong through his riches, he shall stir up all against the kingdom of Greece. Then a mighty king shall arise, who shall rule with great dominion and do as he wills. And as soon as he has arisen, his kingdom shall be broken and divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, but not to his posterity, nor according to the authority with which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up and go to others besides these. Then the king of the south shall be strong, but one of his princes shall be stronger than he, and shall rule. And his authority shall be a great authority. After some years they shall make an alliance, and the daughter of the king of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement. But she shall not retain the strength of her arm, and he and his arm shall not endure. But she shall be given up in her attendants, he who fathered her, and he who supported her in those times. And from a branch from her roots one shall arise in his place. He shall come against the army and enter the fortress of the king of the north, and he shall deal with them and shall prevail. He shall also carry off to Egypt their gods, with their metal images and their precious vessels of silver and gold. And for some years he shall refrain from attacking the king of the north. Then the latter shall come into the realm of the king of the south, but shall return to his own land. His son shall wage war and assemble a multitude of great forces, which shall keep coming and overflow and pass through, and again shall carry the war as far as his fortress. Then the king of the south, moved with rage, shall come out and fight against the king of the north. But he shall raise a great multitude, but it shall be given into his hand. And when the multitude is taken away, his heart shall be exalted, and he shall cast down tens of thousands, but he shall not prevail. For the king of the north shall again raise a multitude greater than the first, and after some years he shall come on with a great army and abundant supplies. In those times many shall rise against the king of the south, and the violent among our own people shall lift themselves up in order to fulfill the vision, but they shall fail. Then the king of the north shall come and throw up siege works, I'm not sure how to say that word, and take a well-fortified city. And the forces of the south shall not stand, or even his best troops, for there shall be no strength to stand. But he who comes against him shall do as he wills, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his hand. He shall set his face to come with the strength of his whole kingdom, and he shall bring terms of an agreement and perform them. He shall give him the daughter of women to destroy the kingdom, but it shall not stand or be to his advantage. Afterward he shall turn his face to the coastlands, and shall capture many of them, but a commander shall put an end to his insolence. Indeed, he shall turn his insolence back upon him. Then he shall turn his face back toward the fortresses of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall, and shall not be found. Then shall arise in his place one who shall send an exactor of tribute from the glory of the kingdom, but within a few days he shall be broken, neither in anger nor in battle. In his place shall arise a contemptible person to whom royal majesty has not been given. He shall come in without warning and obtain the kingdom of flatteries. Armies shall be utterly swept away before him and broken, even the prince of the covenant, and from the time that an alliance is made with him, he shall act deceitfully, and he shall become strong with a small people. Without warning he shall come into the richest parts of the province, and he shall do what neither his fathers nor his fathers' fathers have done, scattering among them plunder, spoil, and goods. He shall devise plans against strongholds, but only for a time, and he shall stir up his power in his heart against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south shall wage war with an exceedingly great and mighty army, but he shall not stand, for plots shall be devised against him. Even those who eat his food shall break him. His army shall be swept away, and many shall fall down slain. And as for the two kings, with their hearts shall be bent on doing evil, they shall speak lies at the same table, but to no avail, for the end is yet to be at the time appointed. And he shall return to his land with great wealth, but his heart shall be set against the holy covenant, and he shall work his will and return to his own land. At the time appointed he shall return and come into the south, but it shall not be this time as it was before. For ships of Kittim shall come against him, and he shall be afraid and withdraw, and shall turn back and be enraged and take action against the holy covenant. He shall turn back and pay attention to those who forsake the holy covenant. Forces from him shall appear and profane the temple and fortress, and shall take away the regular burnt offering. And they shall set up the abomination that makes desolate. He shall seduce with flattery those who violate the covenant, but the people who know their God shall stand firm and take action. And the wise among the people shall make many understand, though for some days they shall stumble by sword and flame, by captivity and plunder. When they stumble, they shall receive a little help, and many shall join themselves to them with flattery. And some of the wise shall stumble, so that they may be refined, purified, and made white until the time of end, for it still awaits the appointed time. And the king shall do as he wills. He shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak astonishing things against the God of gods. He shall prosper till the indignation is accomplished, for what is decreed shall be done. He shall pay no attention to the gods of his fathers, or to the one beloved by women. He shall not pay attention to any other god, for he shall magnify himself above all. He shall honor the God of fortresses instead of these. A god whom his fathers did not know he shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and costly gifts. He shall deal with the strongest fortresses with the help of a foreign god. Those who acknowledge him he shall load with honor. He shall make them rulers over many, and shall divide the land for a price. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, but the king of the north shall rush upon him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall come into countries, and shall overflow and pass through. He shall come into the glorious land, and tens of thousands shall fall, but these shall be delivered out of his hand. Edom and Moab, and the main part of the Ammonites. He shall stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. He shall become ruler of the treasures of gold and of silver, and all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Cushites shall follow in his train. But news from the east and the north shall alarm him, and he shall go out with great fury to destroy and devote many to destruction. And he shall pitch his palatial tents between the sea and the glorious holy mountain, yet he shall come to his end with none to help him. What are we doing? What?
This one's pretty straightforward, I think.
I mean, it's explaining.
It's two people at war, two countries at war.
Mainly.
Two kingdoms at war mainly.
Okay.
Which, the east is obviously Israel, because this is Daniel, and to the east would have been his hometown, right? Isn't that what
I'm a woman. We don't do directions well.
Isn't that what you said not too long ago? Because he prayed, opened his windows and prayed to the east when he stood on the lion's den, right?
He prayed towards Jerusalem.
Okay.
I don't know that
I
he
thought
gave
you
us
said
a
it was towards the
direction.
east.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. It was a direction. It didn't matter anything to me. To me, it was towards Jerusalem.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was towards the east, but I could be wrong.
Well, you keep talking and I'll go look at 6.
And then, you know how, remember in Genesis a long time ago, you and I talked about the two kingdoms that would always, 2 countries that are always fighting, Israel and, is it Aramaic? No. What's the other one? The people that would have come from East, what's his
Ishmael?
name? Maybe.
Talking about Isaac and Ishmael?
Yeah.
The Arabs and the Israelites?
I feel like this is kind of referring to those 2 kingdoms.
Okay.
But I could be completely wrong. I probably am. I probably am, but
I have no idea.
that's kind of what I was getting out of this.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. So, this likely happened during the reign of Darius the Mede or early Persian period. Daniel receives a detailed vision of future conflicts among empires, focusing, on Persia and Greece. Persia is dominant. Greece arises under Alexander the Great. After Alexander's death, his empire divides into 4 major kingdoms, including the Seleucid, which is the north, and the Ptolemaic south empires. Antiochus IV Epiphanes later fulfills aspects of the contemptible king prophecy persecuting God's people. And then this chapter bridges historical prophecy and end-time persecution prophecy. It shows God's sovereignty over world powers and the protection of his covenant people.
Guess I was wrong.
Sounds like it.
Which I'm not surprised.
And when I went back to 6, where they found him in his room praying, it was just towards Jerusalem.
Darn it.
So it may have been to the east. I don't know. All right. So now we're going to break it down. We're going to read in my study notes, because it goes over the whole chapter. It says, this chapter shows how worldly rulers will seek power at any cost and persecute God's people. They will use wealth to stir up fights, 11:2. They will form alliances with another, 11:6, but then later invade each other, 11:9. These rulers will execute thousands of enemies, 11:12, use flattery and intrigue to take over subversely, 11:21, and ultimately plot against each other, 11:27. Everything mentioned in this chapter still goes on today around the world. God warns us of the chaos in which we live now and even greater chaos yet to come. But he also reassures us that with his wisdom and power, justice will be reinstated everywhere. His eternal perfect kingdom will one day be established forever.
People say that the Bible's not one of the greatest books in the world to read.
Because they don't pay attention.
This book has betrayal, everything in it. How could you not love it?
There was a handwriting on the wall.
Yeah, magic and betrayal.
There were men thrown in fire.
Yeah.
There was a man thrown in to be eaten by lions.
There were beasts and all sorts of
There was a man that became beast-like.
Beast-like. And then there was actual beast image dreams, remember?
The beast. Then there were dreams that had such vivid representation.
I thought about that too.
Okay.
Do you think that some of that also goes with some of this?
What do you mean, some of this?
Like the beast, how he said, like, it's different kingdoms.
Yeah. I'm saying it's these.
Yeah, it's obviously, which we thought was some of the end times too, which I think also is included too. But
yeah, it's kind of all of it. Yeah. And that's only We haven't even finished one book
No.
of the Bible.
No. It's all just Daniel.
So Babylonia was defeated by Medo-Persia, which we learned that at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Medo-Persia was defeated by Greece under Alexander the Great, who conquered most of the Mediterranean and Middle Eastern lands. We've also learned after Alexander's death, the empire was divided into 4 parts, and that's where this war that we're seeing is kind of the main message. All right. So now we're going to read chapter 11. We're just going to do verses 1 through 20 to start with. So, and in the first year of Darius the Mede, I took my stand to support and protect him. Now then, I tell you the truth. 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and then a 4th, who will be far richer than all the others. When he has gained power by his wealth, he will stir up everyone against the kingdom of Greece. Then a mighty king will arise, who will rule with great power and do as he pleases. After he has arisen, his empire will be broken up and parceled out toward the 4 winds of heaven. It will not go to his descendants, nor will it have the power he exercised, because his empire will be uprooted and given to others. So, I'm pretty sure this is the angel talking still.
See, I was going to ask you that when you were done talking.
Well, I had to stop because I think it's the angel.
Because he says...
Oh, look! The angelic messenger was revealing not just Israel's future, but the future of all humankind until the end of time of the Antichrist.
Took the book long enough to be helpful.
Only God can reveal future events, so clearly God's work not only deals with the sweeping panorama of history, but also focuses on the intricate details of our lives. So yeah, it is. It is the angel still talking.
Which is most likely Gabriel.
Yes, it was. We believe it's Gabriel. So where was I?
I don't know.
The king of the south will become strong. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Okay. But one of his commanders will become even stronger than he and will rule his own kingdom with great power. After some years, they will become allies. The daughter of the king of the south will go to the king of the north to make an alliance, but she will not retain her power, and he and his power will not last. In those days, she will be betrayed together with her royal escort and her father and the one who supported her. One from her family line will arise to take her place. He will attack the forces of the king of the north and enter his fortress. He will fight against them and be victorious. So in my notes it says these prophecies seem to have been fulfilled many years later in the Seleucid Wars between Egypt and Syria. So Daniel's not alive for them necessarily. The angel's telling him of when it's going to happen, but from our standpoint, this has already occurred. So it says that Ptolemy II of Egypt, the south, gave his daughter Bernice in marriage to Antioch II of Syria, the north, to finalize a peace treaty between their 2 lands. But Bernice was murdered in Antioch by Antiochus II's former wife, Laodiceas. Ptolemy III, Bernice's brother, ascended the Egyptian throne and declared war against the Seleucids to avenge his sister's murder. So this is telling us the history from history books and how this is most likely talking about it. That's pretty cool. All right. Verse 8. Did you have something to say? You were looking.
No, I'm just wondering why Daniel's being told this.
Oh, let's find out.
I
He will also seize their gods, their metal images, and their valuable articles of silver and gold, and carry them off to Egypt. For some years he will leave the king of the north alone. Then the king of the north will invade the realm of the king of the south, but will retreat to his own country. His sons will prepare for war and assemble a great army, which will sweep on like an irresistible flood and carry the battle as far as his fortress. Then the king of the south will march out in rage and fight against the king of the north, who will raise a large army, but it will be defeated. My notes say the king of Syria, the north, was Seleucus II, and the king of Egypt, the south, was the Ptolemy, Ptolemy the fourth. So at this point, we are on to more people. When the army is carried off, the king of the south will be filled with pride and will slaughter many thousands. Yet he will not remain triumphant. For the king of the north will muster another army larger than the first, and after several years he will advance with a huge army fully equipped. In those times many will arise against the king of the south. Those who are violent among your own people will rebel in fulfillment of this vision, but without success. So those who are violent among your own people, it'd be Daniel's people, right?
I would think so.
Okay. Then the king of the north will come and build up siege ramps and will capture a fortified city. The forces of the south will be powerless to resist. Even their best troops will not have the strength to stand. The invader will do as he pleases. No one will be able to stand against him. He will establish himself in the beautiful land and will have the power to destroy it. And the beautiful land is Israel. So the king of the north may have been Antiochus III the Great. He defeated many Egyptian cities and established himself in Israel. He was later defeated by the Romans at Magnesia. I don't know. 17. He will determine to come with the might of his entire kingdom and will make an alliance with the king of the south. And he will give him a daughter in marriage in order to overthrow the kingdom. But his plans will not succeed or help him. And it says the invader, Antiochus III, tried to bring peace between Egypt and Syria by having his daughter marry Ptolemy V of Egypt, but the plan failed. So then he will turn his attention to the coastlands and will take many of them, but a commander will put an end to his insolence and will turn his insolence back on him. After this, he will turn back toward the fortresses of his own country, but will stumble and fall to be seen no more. His successor will send out a tax collector to maintain the royal splendor. In a few years, however, he will be destroyed, yet not in anger or in battle. So the successor to Antiochus III was Seleucus IV. He sent Heliodorus to collect money from the temple treasury in Jerusalem. So Gabriel details the Persian kings and the rise of Greece. Alexander the Great arises. His empire is divided into 4. God's control over history is evident in the rise and fall of kingdoms. And that's what we're seeing here. Like, it's a roller coaster. Right? Okay. Anything before we move on?
Nope.
All right. Verses 21 through 35. So 21 is going to be talking about Seculus IV was succeeded by his brother Antiochus IV, who found favor with the Romans. He will be succeeded by a contemptible person who has not been given the honor of royalty. He will invade the kingdom when its people feel secure, and he will seize it through intrigue. Then an overwhelming army will be swept away before him. Both it and a prince of the covenant will be destroyed. After coming to an agreement with him, he will act deceitfully, and with only a few people, he will rise to power. So it says the overwhelming army refers to the way all opposition against Antiochus IV would be broken. The prince of the covenant may be the high priest Ananias III, who was assassinated by Menelaus in 170 BC. So we're getting closer to Jesus' time. When the rich's providence feels secure, he will invade them and will achieve what neither his father nor his forefathers did. He will distribute plunder, loot, and wealth among his followers. He will plot to overthrow fortresses, but only for a time. With a large army, he will stir up his strength and courage against the king of the south. The king of the south will wage war with a large and very powerful army, but he will not be able to stand because of the plots devised against him. Those who eat from the king's provisions will try to destroy him. His army will be swept away, and many will fall in battle. The 2 kings, with their hearts bent on evil, will sit at the same table and lie to each other, but to no avail, because an end will still come at the appointed time. So the 2 treacherous kings were probably Antiochus IV of Syria and Ptolemy VI of Egypt. Power brokers use treachery and deceit to control others.
How many Ptolemies are there?
Well, that was 6.
cannot imagine being in Babylonia the 6th.
Well, Antioch was the 4th.
I still couldn't imagine that.
It's named after his dad.
Yeah, well, it's just going after. Now you're just a number. It's just like cloning. You're just a number. Oh, hey, I'm number 6. Like, oh gosh.
The king of the north will return to his own country with great wealth, but his heart will be set against the Holy Covenant. He will take action against it and then return to his own country. At the appointed time, he will invade the south again, but this time the outcome will be different from what it was before. Ships of the western coastlands will oppose him and he will lose heart. Then he will turn back and vent his fury against the Holy Covenant. He will return and show favor to those who forsake the Holy Covenant. His armed forces will rise up to desecrate the temple fortress and will abolish the daily sacrifice. Then they will set up the abomination that causes desolation. With flattery he will corrupt those who have violated the covenant, but the people who know their God will firmly resist him. So my little notes down here is Antioch the 4th would again invade the south, but enemy ships would cause him to retreat. On his way back, he would plunder Jerusalem, desecrate the temple, and stop the Jews' daily sacrifices. The temple would be desecrated when he sacrificed pigs within it on an altar erected in honor of Zeus. According to Jewish law, pigs were unclean and were not to be touched or eaten. To sacrifice a pig in the temple was the worst kind of insult an enemy could level against the Jews. This happened in 169 through 167 BC. This reference to those who violated the covenant may include Menelaus, the high priest, who was won over by Antiochus and who conspired with him against the Jews who were loyal to God. The people who know their God could be the Maccabees and their sympathizers, but a further fulfillment may lie in the future. Jeez.
Yeah.
I feel like we need a war board.
A war board?
Yeah, have a giant map of the country, north, south, east, west, and show how they move.
Might have to start doing
Bunch
that.
of them.
You're gonna have to start. You're gonna have to get one of those. So when we start going through the whole Bible, we have that because there's a lot of that.
All right. So those who are wise will instruct many, though for a time they will fall by the sword or be burned or captured or plundered. When they fall, they will receive a little help, and many who are not sincere will join them. So it says, those who are spiritually wise will lead and teach many, but they will also face great persecution. And then to finish out 35, some of the wise will stumble so that they may be refined, purified, and made spotless until the time of the end, for it will still come at the appointed time.
What do you think he's talking about there? The end will come. Do you think it's talking about
the end times?
The end times, or Jesus is coming back?
Well, so my notes say, God's messenger described a time of trial when even wise believers will stumble. This could mean 1, falling into sin, 2, being fearful and losing faith, 3, mistakenly following wrong teachers, or 4, experiencing severe suffering and martyrdom. If we persevere in our faith, trials will only refine us and make us stronger. So, I don't know if he is talking about when Jesus comes, or if he's talking about because once Jesus comes and dies and rises again, we're in the end times.
Right.
So we're in the end times. So I don't know if he's talking about they'll have all this till Jesus comes, or if he's talking about once Jesus comes, you're still going to have, because it says that
we still have it, even though Jesus has come.
Well, it says that
to an extent, we still have it, I guess.
For it will still come at the appointed time.
That's probably reference to Jesus.
I don't know.
Nobody probably does. That's why it's probably not in your little book there.
Maybe not. I don't know. All right. So then now verses 36 through 45. The king will do as he pleases. He will exalt and magnify himself above every god and will say unheard of things against the God of gods. He will be successful until the time of wrath is completed, for what has been determined must take place. He will show no regard for the gods of his ancestors or for the one desired by women, nor will he regard any god, but will exalt himself above them all. Instead of them, he will honor a god of fortress, a god unknown to his ancestors. He will honor with gold and silver, with the precious stones and costly gifts. He will attack the mighty fortress with the help of a foreign god, and will gently honor those who acknowledge him. He will make them rulers over many people and will distribute the land at a price. At the time of the end, the king of the south will engage him in battle, and the king of the north will storm out against him with chariots and cavalry and a great fleet of ships. He will invade many countries and sweep through them like a flood. I'm going to guess it is before Jesus because the Romans are in charge when Jesus is born.
Right.
He will also invade the beautiful land. Many countries will fall, but Edom, Moab, and the leaders of Ammon will be delivered from his hand. He will extend his power over many countries. Egypt will not escape. He will gain control of the treasures of gold and silver and all the riches of Egypt, with the Libyans and the Cushites in submission. But reports from the east and the north will alarm him, and he will set out in a great rage to destroy and annihilate many. He will pitch his royal tents between the seas at the beautiful holy mountain, yet he will come to his end and no one will help him.
Do you think the reports to the east and the north is the Romans potentially?
I don't know. I'm going to find out when I read. So, verses 36 through 39, these verses could refer to Antiochus the Fourth, Titus the Roman general, or the future Antichrist. Some of these events may have been fulfilled in the past, and some have yet to be fulfilled. Verse 37, the one desired by women may refer to Tamazu, a Babylonian fertility god. Tamazu is also mentioned in Ezekiel 8:14. In other words, this person won't recognize any deity or religions at all, not even pagan ones. Instead, he will proclaim himself to be divine and the ultimate power, which is probably why they think that this is not yet to come. It's the Antichrist, because they would have known what the Roman leader believed.
Mm-hmm.
We would have had a reference to who that was. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. So then, the gods of fortress is believed by some to be Jupiter or Zeus. The implication is that this king will make war his god. More than all his predecessors, he will wage war and glory its horrors. Verse 40, the Antichrist of the last days becomes the center of attention from this point through the rest of the book of Daniel. And that's what, as I was getting closer, chapter 12's little heading is the end times. So we'll get to that tomorrow. As always, the beautiful holy mountain is Mount Zion, or the city of Jerusalem. The heavenly man proclaims that the power of the king of the north, the Antichrist, will run out and no one will help him. This pronouncement reminds us that God limits the power of all evil. This king will surely be defeated, not by any human beings, but by God's power to place boundaries around him. So, yeah, it probably was talking about Rome, and then it went into the Antichrist of what we have not seen yet.
Fair enough.
So, the end time king is what my notes say. A king arises, exalting himself above all gods and persecuting the saints. Prophecy points to final conflict before God's ultimate kingdom is established. And despite the king's power, God's sovereignty ensures his destruction and triumph of his people. We like that.
Yeah.
So how does understanding the historical context, Persia, Greece, Antiochus IV, help interpret this prophecy?
Help interpret it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it helps that we know what they're talking about. It's not like just a bunch of random kingdoms or souths and norths. You actually know
who they're talking
who
about.
they're talking about and what happened.
But Daniel wouldn't have.
No, he'd have been completely. I feel like he'd be even more confused.
Yeah. I think that is something is like we have such a different view than people who had read Daniel back then, or even Daniel who was like experiencing all of this.
If it hadn't happened yet, they're reading this, they're like, "This is crazy. This guy was insane." Pretty sure anybody who read Daniel back then is like, "This guy was crazy."
So we know that people are saying that we're in the end times, God's coming back. Okay, truth is, God's been coming back for many years. We are living in the end times. That is truth. But our grandparents were living in end times too. So,
And our grandparents before that, and before that, and
right.
before that.
So, we need to thank God for his ultimate control over history, ask for courage and faithfulness during trials, and pray for discernment to see God's hand in current events and personal circumstances. We need to remember that God's got this, no matter what we think.
This is very true. Everything you say is accurate.
Well, and it's hard for me because, especially with Blake and Lydia, when you sit there and talk about the end times, it's got to be scary. But the truth is, we know it's coming. We know that the Bible has prophesied it. We've been given clues, and we're seeing some of those clues come to fruition. They're coming true, and so we're getting closer to God's coming back.
Yeah, but I mean,
But the truth is, every day we're getting closer to that.
and it says it's come true before, though.
Not all of them.
Some things have come true
Oh, yeah.
before.
We've had
where
times
it's like,
of.
oh, he's coming back, and
But what does the Bible tell us about him coming back?
live every day like it's your last.
Live every day like he's coming back now.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to cover?
Nope.
All right. We thank you for joining us. Sorry that it's getting posted late this evening. We will get tomorrow's uploaded and ready for you by 6 p.m. as usual. And Saturday we will do a review, and we will be done with the book of Daniel. Thank you for joining us. Good night.